I just wanted to train no gi. No gi was a lot more fun than the gi. The gi was just too slow, too much stalling. It's just much more fun to roll no gi. And, there was a possibility that I may do MMA. So I wanted to have my jiu-jitsu as MMA ready as possible. That's another reason. But, mainly I went to the pure no gi style, mainly just because it's more fun. The gi is just too slow for me. Some people like it. It's fine. I don't hate it. It's just so damn slow. I was at the Mundials, the World Championships in Brazil in 2000, and watching the black belts, they're just interlocked, playing tug of war with each other's pants and collars and sleeves. And man, I was falling asleep. They had all these Brazilians hitting drums and all sorts of noise. They were all going crazy. But me and my instructor, when my instructor looked over at me and said, "This is so boring," I'm like, wow. If a legend is telling me this is boring, there's something wrong. And to me, it's just too slow. I ordered the Mundials last year, and to watch myself, not this past one, but the one before, ordered it. I got excited. I was like, oh shit, World Championships of Jiu-Jitsu. Yeah, within 10 minutes, I was already on other websites and just wasn't even watching, just waiting for Marcelo. And I got so bored, I missed Marcelo. I'm not going to buy it for nothing. So, that's just how I feel. Some people love it. Some people like that slow game. It's not for me.
Yo, Eddie, this is Chris here, man, the co-host of this podcast. I just want to say it's an honor to be talking to you, sir. I've been following you for years, man. I'm subscribed to you on Twister Eddie on YouTube, and it's great to be talking to you, man.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm honored to be on the show, man. Thank you for having me.
That's fantastic. So I just want to break right into some things that I'm actually curious about. Now, let's talk some combat jiu-jitsu. Now, you said it's the in-between between MMA and regular, traditional jiu-jitsu competition. Where do you see it going, man? Like, personally, where do you see this taking off to? Like, what's the height of it?
I think it could be the granddaddy of grappling, the grappling genres. You know what I mean? It's not as cool as MMA, that's for sure. It's always cooler that you could strike standing, but this is definitely a lot more hardcore than your average jiu-jitsu tournament, no-gi tournament, or wrestling, or Greco-Roman, or judo. It's way more hardcore than all those, because you could strike once one person hits the ground, you can start throwing bombs, and that takes it to the next level. Again, it's not as cool as MMA, but it's way better than regular grappling, that's for sure.
I agree, man. I watched that video that you posted on Mastering the System, and we got to see a little taste of combat jiu-jitsu. It was interesting, man, because it's such a great blending of the two sports. And I just wanted to ask you, is it actually sanctioned, or is it an exhibition?
No, it's a sanctioned sport now. I've been talking about this for a while, but when you just talk about crazy ideas, nothing happens with them. I'm not trying to own the sport or anything. I just felt that in order for anybody to take it seriously, we're going to have to sanction it and do it right, and so that people can see what it looks like. And I'm not I'm not trying to own it. I want people to start their own combat jiu-jitsu tournaments and events.
Right.
I'm not trying to take any money or percentage. Go ahead and do it. I
know that, man.
I just did an interview with Gong Magazine. It's the biggest MMA magazine in Japan, and they're totally interested in it. They want to. There's some Asian. I don't know if it's Singapore, but some Asian country is already putting on a combat jiu-jitsu tournament. There's some promoters on the East Coast. They want to get involved. They want to know the exact rules. And Rose Gracie wants to add it to the Gracie World next year. There's people that want to just your own combat jiu-jitsu league. My dream is to get Olympic bid. Why not?
Me too, man. I feel personally that it's a great idea. When I actually saw the video at first, really into it.
What if the Sheik said, "Fuck it. From now on, Abu Dhabi is going to punches on the ground"? Would that A, make more people excited about the tournament or less excited?
I think more. My
Absolutely.
money's on more.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer. You know, he has that kind of power. He can just flip the switch just like that. You know, and it would be amazing. Maybe just the super fights or whatever, or the finals. The finals of combat jiu-jitsu. You get to the finals, now you got to go places.
It'd be amazing to see Roger Gracie, Usman Pajarez in combat jiu-jitsu. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, or those little guys that are awesome. Like, how about Corina versus Rafael Mendez with punches on the ground?
Oh,
That
yeah.
would look so different. It would look so different. It wouldn't look like the previous matches.
You know, Eddie, I would never assume that you want to make money off of it. I know you're just in this for the love of the game, dude, and me too. And I got one more question regarding combat jiu-jitsu. Do you ever plan on having titles, or are you just going to have tournaments where there's tournament titles, or are you going to have actual champions?
Absolutely, everything. You know, everything the sport of grappling has: weight divisions, championships, belts, champions, contenders. Right now, it's considered an amateur sport. That's the only way we could sanction it. They would only give us three-minute rounds. I wanted 1 10-minute round, 1 15-minute round. They were like, what the hell is that? They're just so old school. So I took what they gave me, you know, 3 3-minute
Eddie, are
rounds.
you working out right now?
Yeah, I was going to ask, you're breathing pretty heavy. You fighting off your back?
No, I'm walking up a hill with my baby.
Oh, nice.
Killing 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah, how is being a father? You had a new baby recently. Yeah, tell us a little bit about how things have changed from not being a father to being a dad.
Well, I lived my 42 years basically with me being number one. You know what I mean? And when you have a kid, he just moves up the ladder right away to that number one spot, past your parents, past my wife, past everybody. That kid is number one, before me. So there's so much love there, and before he was born, I'm living life, and the levels of love in my system are at medium to medium high, I guess. I didn't think so back then. I thought it's on full blast. But when that kid pops out, now you're living life with those love levels just popping. They're peaking red. It's just, you're just living with so much love, and it gives you power. It's actually, it's a performance enhancer. With all that love, it just gives you so much strength. I just want to work my ass off for him and make sure that he has a comfortable life and he doesn't have to deal with his, as I just want as much happiness for him as possible. So it motivates me to get in the gym and work my ass off and not be lazy.
The HGH of life.
Yeah. You guys have kids?
Well, we're actually a couple of young bucks. I'm 22 and Chris is 26.
Okay, well, one of these days you'll know what I'm. My whole life I was, I was like, no, it's gonna take all your freedom away. You're not gonna have. It's gonna be so hard to raise. You're gonna be struggling, and all that's true. All that is true. There's no more free time anymore. It's all about him. But you get so much more in return that just living, just having someone, it's scary too, because now I have this person that I love so much, and it's taken my love through the roof. Now, if anything happens to him, I'll be destroyed. So now I'm vulnerable. I have someone on this planet that if something happened to, it would destroy me. So it's scary, and it's the most beautiful thing you can ever imagine.
Eddie, I've been following the Joe Rogan podcast for a long time, and he's very open about friends having kids. And when he didn't have kids, he was very skeptical. And he had kids before you did, and then you followed suit. What was it like seeing Rogan have a kid, man? Must have been awesome.
To tell you the truth, I didn't get it. I didn't understand. He had 2 daughters before I think his daughter's like 3 or 4, and then he's got one that's around 2, 1.5, something like that. And, you know, we were Batman and Robin. We were like all over the world with the UFC, and, you know, and when he had the kids, he you know, it changes you, and he changed, and for the better. And I got, you know, I'll admit I got a little, you know, I felt like, you know, he wasn't paying enough attention to his friends like he was before he had the kids, and I was selfish, you know, and I felt a little neglected, and then we weren't hanging out as much, you know. When I had my kid, I totally understood what he went through. I'm like, you know, I even I even sat him down and I apologized, and you know, 'cause I wanted to tell him how I felt. Like, and now I'm like, when you have a kid, you know, that's number one. Everything else, your friends, your family, it moves down a big slot, you know, and that's just the way it is. And there's no turning back from it, and that's the way it should be. And you know, me and Joe are a lot tighter, you know, because of it.
That's awesome. Yeah. You know, a lot of kids will typically get into what their mother or father did, and obviously you're a very well-known jiu-jitsu practitioner. I was wondering how soon you were planning on introducing them to jiu-jitsu.
Well, you know, if there's anybody that owns jiu-jitsu school or a martial arts school, you know, any guy that is the head of the school, when they have a son, that son's under a lot of pressure that's the head instructor's son. Now he's got to be really good, you know, and I don't want him to feel any kind of pressure like that. But, you know, so he gets that pressure. He can come into jiu-jitsu and just have bad experiences and get squashed, you know, and not understand it and say, fuck this, and he could just be turned off from it and just run away. Before I introduce him to jiu-jitsu, I'm going to get his body nice and strong first, maybe a little gymnastics or breakdancing or something that turns him into just a super athlete where there's no pressure and I'm not involved in that sport. And, you know, once he becomes nice and strong, you know, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 years of gymnastics, then when I introduce him to jiu-jitsu, you know, he'll be a little, you know, for his size, he'll probably be a little assassin and love it, you know. So that's the plan.
Little killer.
But if he's not into it, that's all good. You know, I'm going to introduce him to music as well, you know, start him early with piano and guitar, and, you know, hopefully he's into music or jiu-jitsu. But if he's not, and he's like into architecture or whatever, that's cool too, you know, whatever makes him happy.
Yeah, something that kind of ties into it a little bit, you know, being well known in MMA, a lot of these contact sports, MMA, football, hockey, concussions are starting to pop up as a worry. If your son wanted to get into something like mixed martial arts, is it something you would let him get into, or you know, it's a really kind of thing in the air now with concussions being on everyone's mind as far as these rough contact sports?
Well, you know, I don't want him to get going to MMA, but if he decides to do it and he's 18, I'm not going to be that dad that disowns him and tries to stop him and just be his buzzkill, you know. If that's his passion, he feels like that's his mission in life, what I want to do is I'm going to make sure, you know, if he makes that decision, that while he's a child growing up, he'll have, you know, I want him to start striking early and wrestling early, breakdancing, gymnastics, and by the time he makes that decision at 18, I want to have to support him, and if I'm going to support him, I want to be happy that I created a little chimpanzee just in case he wants to do it, you know?
Yeah, I'm definitely. A couple months ago, we actually had a really short interaction. Before our first episode, I was looking for an intro song for our podcast, came across Jiu-Jitsu by Smoke Serpent, and I tweeted you asking if we could use it, and you graciously, said yeah, for sure. So thank you a lot for letting us use that song as the intro to every single episode. But I wanted to know what it's like balancing the life of a jiu-jitsu teacher and being a musician, how you try and balance both of those things.
It's really hard, man. I mean, especially now with the baby, I have very little free time, if any. There's no free time. It's really, really, my time is so precious now, and my schedule is just so tight. I got to work more now just to support my family, and so it's really hard to get to the music. I'm working on it as much as I can. It's really, really hard right now, But I'm still working. We just dropped our last single. I remixed a Bass Nectar song called Time Stretch. And
yeah, I heard that. That was dope, man.
I turned it into a Smoke Serpent song. So it's actually it's a new Smoke Serpent song with a Bass Nectar sample. And I'm probably more proud of that song than anything I've ever done, to tell you the truth.
Well, you should be.
That song
is a great song.
Song is
That's
fucking
a great song.
Banging. I would be lying if I said I hadn't been blasting that the last weeks.
Really? Cool.
Yeah,
That's awesome to hear. You can go to I opened up SoundCloud account, and now I'm putting up on SoundCloud. I'm putting up everything, Smoke Serpent stuff, old demos, remixes that I'm doing. I'm doing a lot of remixes. I just released a Yeah Yeahs remix of Skeleton. It has nothing to do with Smoke Serpent, just remixes. I've taken, some of my all-time favorite songs and making them danceable. So I remixed Changes by Black Sabbath, turned that into just a dirty, grungy, dubstep-y type song. I'm working with a DJ named Mr. Denizen. He's helping me engineer the stuff and produce it. And I'm working with another guy named Matt Horder, who's just a genius engineer and badass musician. I'm working with different producers now and doing different projects and executive producing stuff and just to, get more product out there. I don't have that much time, so I'm executive producing remixes. I'm getting different engineers and just telling them what song I want remixed and, kind of guiding them through it, letting them put, their own input into it too, and just kind of mixing it all up. So if you go to SoundCloud.com/Eddie-Bravo, I'm going to start uploading all my old demos and all my new remixes and new Smoke Serpent cuts. So I think, that's the place. If you're on my frequency musically, you want to get on it. Oh, oops, I almost slipped. Fell on So anyway, but the song I'm most proud of is Time Stretch.
Time Stretch, yeah. I heard it on Rogan's podcast a couple weeks ago, and after it, I Googled just Smoke Serpent Bass Nectar, and the first thing that popped up was the YouTube video, and that song is banging, and that kind of keys into my next question. Both of us are listeners to the Rogan podcast, gotten wildly popular, a lot of national exposure. I was kind of curious how your appearances there have changed the popularity of things like yourself, getting recognized in public, and the amount of people who are coming in to learn 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu nationwide.
Oh, it's made a tremendous difference. I mean, I would say more people come up to me randomly and know me through the podcast than, 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu alone or my music. That's for sure. People come up and say, dude, I love you on the podcast. Dude, listen to Rogan's podcast. I love it when you go on. That happens a lot. It's pretty crazy. That podcast is out of control.
Eddie, you guys changed my life, man. You, Joey, and Joe have legitimately changed my life. I listen to those podcasts. I've listened since 2009, and what it taught me is that it's okay to be yourself and go out there and say what you want, man. I was reserved before, but you know, I've been really just on that kick of like, dude, just say what you want, man. You only live once. You guys taught me that.
Yeah, you know, originality is the key to success. Got to be original. And it's so easy to be original. You just got to learn how to be yourself. And most people don't know how to be themselves, you know. Professionals don't know how to be themselves, you know. So that, to me, that's the key. As long as you're yourself, it's going to come out unique, you know, and no one's going to be able to touch it. So, you know. Yeah.
Speaking of success, man, your 10th planet, you have how many schools? Is it 60 or 70, something like that? How many total?
Like in the 30s, something like that.
That's fine, man, but it's worldwide, and I wanted to talk to you about the success of the 10th planet system. You got, what is it, Alan Jabwan? The guy that fought for Titan? That guy had a great finish in Titan fighting. You have the Twister from Korean Zombie. He learned that off the internet. You have Ronda Rousey, Vinny Magalhaes coming back to the UFC, Aoki tapping fuckers out. I just wanted to know how it feels to look at your system.
Belcher as well.
Definitely.
Alan Belcher. I'm about to go out to Alan Belcher's and work with him a couple days for the Deep Door fight, tighten up his twister game and his half guard game. Looking forward to that. Alan Belcher, I think I think he has a chance against Anderson. I think he has.
He's fantastic.
He has so much fury when he's in that cage. Alan Belcher don't give a shit. He goes in there and throws down. He's a real serious threat for Anderson.
I agree, man, but going back to the 10th planet, man, to see all these different people in grappling and fighting, how does it feel to look at, you know, your baby? It's like your martial art that you took something that was good and you made it better, and what's it like to see it just blossom and grow and see the results in the cage?
Man, it's incredible. You know, I can't believe it. Every day I remind myself of it. Every day I tell myself, you know, how lucky and blessed I am. Can't believe it, you know. If I got nothing else, if I achieved nothing else, I would be totally happy with what I have. You know what I mean? Of course, I have goals and all that stuff. I want 10 times to be bigger, and I want you know, people to finally realize that there's a lot you can do off your back offensively, and to get that notion of if you're on your back, you're losing the fight. You know, that kind of attitude, and you know. Well, once rubber guard is you know, something that everyone works on. You know, they work on their wrestling, their striking, work on their hands, work on the rubber guard. You know, when that becomes standard, you know, that's a goal of mine. But man, what I've achieved so far is unbelievable, and I got a beautiful baby boy, and I mean, there's nothing else I want.
Dude, it's fantastic, man. And one more thing on the thread of your 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu. The in-between move and transitions that you have at 10th Planet, I actually downloaded Mastering the System a long time ago, paid good money for that, and I noticed that you have all these intricate in-between moves where in traditional Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, they don't have names for it, but you named them. Jake has a lot of those names. I think it's like the banana split, the truck, crackhead control.
The sorcerer is one of the most brutal ones.
Yeah, I mean, what was the catalyst to get you to name those in between moves? Because I think it's nothing better, man. I mean, you're coming up with names for little in between things that have to have names. If it was a system, it'd be incomplete without them. You did that, and look at your success now. You're putting names on things that didn't have names before, and you're actually creating them and advancing them.
You got to name every transition. You got to name every setup, even though, you know, the end result was an arm bar. How did you get that arm bar? What did you do specifically? And how many moves were involved? And what are the names of each step? You got to name each step, each move, so that you can get on the phone and talk to your teammates or talk to your coach or students and talk about moves and different transitions and learn from phone call. You know, it's not coming up with all those crazy names wasn't something I did to be different. It was something I had to do to get my point across and make teaching easier, learning easier. And, you know, some of the names sound stupid. Some are cool. Some are just okay. Some are perfect. But it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter what the name is. You know, you accept the name and you just name for it. And some of them came out goofy because I'm a goofy motherfucker. I'm always pulling pranks on people. I love comedy. I'm just having fun with this shit. I'm not taking it too damn seriously. Jiu-jitsu is the coolest thing you could possibly do. You can't do anything cooler than jiu-jitsu. You get to practice killing people every day you want, you know, and a tap represents a death. And you guys are all friends, you know. It really is a video game in the future, like 500 years in the future. Right now we got, you know, video games are turning into like Wii's, and you're getting involved in it. Now you can actually swing and shoot the gun, and and then soon you're going to be able to put on a helmet, and they probably already have those, and you're like in a virtual world killing people. And if you get killed, it's, you know, you don't really die, so it's cool. It's a video game, and you get to kill, but you're not really killing anybody, and then they kill you, but you're not really dead. It's really fun. You know, and then it's finally going to get to jiu-jitsu. How about you actually really are killing people, but it's a game, so no one's really dying, but I put you in the rear naked choke. If I wanted to, I can kill you. You know,
I have one last question, man.
Yeah, that definitely beats the shoot box version of just running in there and trying to kill each other. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
No, I had a question. It really doesn't mean much, but you were on Inside MMA about 3 years ago talking to Kenny and Boss, and you said that you had a student named Joe who was just a killer and a gorilla. Was that Joe Rogan?
I don't remember. I just said Joe. Maybe I said Joe. I'm pretty sure I said it thinking that everybody knew who I was talking about.
Yeah.
That's
most likely
what happened. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. A lot of casual MMA fans, you know, just friends who will go out to the bar and stuff. I'll tell them, yeah, Rogan's a black belt in Taekwondo. He was a national champion. He's a black belt in Jiu-Jitsu. I'm like, no, he's just the Fear Factor guy doing announcing. Like, no, he's a legitimate martial arts practitioner.
He's a killer.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. That I feel at my school where he's kicking the bag and GSP is going nuts. He can't believe how hard Joe Rogan's kicking the bag. You know, I mean, you have Bruce Lee. You have Bruce Lee with all these famous little video clips that all the Bruce. I'm a big Bruce Lee fanatic. Bruce Lee is the most influential person in my life, for damn sure. But, you know, you compare his famous little clips and Bruce Lee kicking a bag in his backyard, and like, oh, look at this. That kick is so amazing, and it's so fast, and he kicks a bag, and it's in black and white. None of those video clips that Bruce Lee has even comes close to Joe Rogan destroying a bag, GSP, the greatest martial artist ever, arguably, going nuts, cursing, going, oh, my God, fuck, that was fucking... He's running to grab his phone so that he can video it because no one's going to believe him. That's a video that exists. You know what I mean? That's real shit. That's a crazy video. Come on, that's Joe Rogan teaching GSP how to kick. And it wasn't like GSP was just standing there going, okay, I see what you're doing. He kind of turning the hip, and okay, that's nice. And then he's kicking it. That would be nothing. GSP's reaction is what made that video. He's going nuts. He can't fucking believe it. You know, Bruce Lee doesn't have a video like that. It's that powerful. He doesn't have a video where he's wowing people with his kicks. And you're seeing the way he's hitting that bag. It's not just the camera angle. If you're standing there, he murders fucking bags. He murders, and you know, we grew up in jiu-jitsu at the Machados, and every jiu-jitsu school is filled with guys that come from the karate background with black belts. Some have schools. Like I would say, a good third of jiu-jitsu students come from a traditional martial arts background. And there was a bag, a kicking bag set up at Jean-Jacques, just sitting there. No one really practiced kickboxing there because of the bag. And people would every now and then be a dude wailing on it. And it was so hysterical when I would asked someone who was a black belt in the school, this one guy in particular, his name was Dave. I said he owned a karate school, and he's infusing it with jiu-jitsu, which is a smart thing. And I asked him, I go, let me see your turning sidekick, kick that bag. And he'd get in stance, stretch out just for like 2 seconds, and then he'd do a turning sidekick, hit the bag. And then Joe would start saying, okay, Joe, you do it now. And then Joe would do it, and nobody wanted to kick the bag anymore. Once they see Joe kick the bag, nobody wants to kick it anymore. They won't even try it again.
Yeah, man. When Joe kicks that bag, dude, it makes that sound. It makes that sound where like you hear that cha-ching, and it's the same sound you make when you're up on a swing and you're way high up and it has slack and you just come falling back down. Cha-ching.
There was this time, and I've been wanting to videotape it forever. Actually, I did videotape it once back in 2001. I mean, I've known Joe can murder bags for 12, 13 years. And I tried to explain to people, but nobody would believe it. And I videotaped, back in 2001, and I showed it to Rico Rodriguez. He's a friend of mine. I go, look, the turn-in sidekick has a place in MMA. And this is back when, you don't throw turn-in sidekicks, but rarely, like, you see one every 2 years. And I was trying to convince Rico Rodriguez of it, but it was a bad camera angle. He wasn't that impressed, although Rico did start throwing turn-in sidekicks. I don't know if you remember or follow him, but he would throw them. But I don't know if he was influenced by Joe. But anyways, so way back then, me and Joe drop off this car to get a car stereo. And we got a couple hours because we're walking around, we get something to eat. Then we see a martial arts school across the street. It was run by five Middle Eastern brothers that did a combination of like karate and kung fu and all and savate and even that Sanchu stuff. And we walked in. And I had it all planned out. I wanted to get the guy kicking the bag and then have Joe kick the bag and look at the guy's face. That's what I wanted to do. I go in. I love doing that. I've done that several times. I get dude kicking the bag. Because if Joe kicks the bag first, no one's going to want to kick the bag. I want to see them kick it first. So I walk into school, like pretending like we're interested in joining. And I said, can you show me what kind of kicks you teach here? Do you guys teach linear kicks or more circular kicks, more like kung fu? And I was like trying to get the kicks out of him. He goes, well, I'll show you. So he starts stretching out, ready to give us a demonstration of what kicks we're going to learn there. He's stretching out, and while he's stretching, he looks over at Joe, and Joe's kind of like shadow boxing a little bit, and the guy goes, yeah, have you ever trained? Have you strike? And then like Joe doesn't want to lie. He goes, yeah, I did. I used to teach Taekwondo. And I go, oh, really? He goes, let me see what you got. Why don't you hit the bag? And Joe said, okay. And he went first, so he just destroyed the bag. That guy, you know what he said? I swear to God, I'll never forget this. He said, I'm not going to sit here and have a kicking competition with you guys. Like, he figured it out. He goes, if I get hurt trying to impress you with kicks, that's going to affect my livelihood. He backed out of that shit. He would not kick the bag. He knew he was set up. Like, he'd never, 1,000,000%, he'd never seen anybody kick a bag like that before. And people just don't believe it until they see it. I've never seen anybody kick a bag like Joe. I've been around a lot of martial artists. I've never seen anybody. All those videos. Neither has GSP. GSP's never seen anybody kick a bag like that, and he's a legit black belt. And it's not just a turning sidekick. Everything Joe throws has incredible power. Everything. Like his jab, his hook, his hands. He's got giant hands, and I've witnessed this personally. And cause, he's got cash. He takes private lessons with like the best motherfuckers out there. And I always want to see their reaction once they start holding mitts for him. Once people start holding mitts for Joe, it's just not his turning side and sidekick. His hands are tremendously heavy. They always look. He'll just fucking jack those mitts up, and then the guy looks over at me, and I make eye contact. I'm like, so what do you think? They always go, holy shit, this guy could fight pro right now. They're always blown away. Everyone, like even Delagrati. Delagrati was holding mitts for Joe, and he said he'd never hit anybody. He's never had anybody that size hit as hard as Joe.
I believe that, man. I believe
everything,
that.
His axe kicks, his Jackie Chan flippy kicks, his uppercut, his everything he throws, his push kick, everything. He's got what it is he's got something going on in the hip area. Like he just knows how to throw his hips harder and stronger than most people, and he's got big, heavy hands. You know, it's and you know his shoulders are giant. He really is a gorilla. You know,
he is, man.
If he wanted to do, like, if someone was going to give him $100 million and he said, "Fuck it, I'll take the fight," and he got to train 6 months, he would destroy some dudes at 170. He would murder them. He's very hard to take down. His jiu-jitsu is sick. You're going to take him down, you're going to get choked. He's really good at jiu-jitsu, and he's got heavy fucking hands. And I'm sure he's got his jaw is big. I'm sure he could take some damage. Joe can fuck up a lot of those dudes at 170 if he got in shape. You know what I mean? If he got his weakness is his cardio. He's never been able to really lick that cardio thing. He backs about a lot. But
it's crazy, man.
If he fixed that cardio problem right now today, even though he's like 44, he would fuck dudes out. Everybody that holds him at firm, their jaws drop. It's crazy. And I'm not just saying that. It's the truth.
I believe it, man.
You see that back? Yeah, it's crazy.
Dude.
It's crazy.
GSP was freaking out when he saw him kick it.
GSP legitimately went, "Oh my God, Joe, what are you doing? How did you do that?"
Okay, hold on. Let me go get my video camera. No one's gonna fucking believe me. Nobody's gonna fucking believe me. I go to Canada, they're gonna think he bullshit.
Holy
my God.
Joe, you kick
Dude,
so
by
hard.
the way, I'm terrible at accents. I shouldn't have done that.
No, I'm talking about UFC level fighters. There are a lot of dynamite jiu-jitsu players now in MMA. Do any current fighters stand out to you now? You know, I saw you were talking about Paul Sass a lot after his most recent fight against Jacob Volkman, where he pulled out that nutty triangle armbar.
Yeah, Vinny Margulis has been around the block a couple times, so that's no shocker. To me, Vinny's got, top 3 best jiu-jitsu in the UFC. If not the best, he might be the best. I don't know. I'd say top 3, Vinny Margulis. And then, you got George Sotiropoulos in there. His jiu-jitsu is insane. And then, the new guys, Paul Sass and Weidman. Both of those guys have some serious jiu-jitsu. But my personal favorite between Weidman and Paul Sass, I like Paul Sass better. We haven't seen Weidman on his back. We haven't. Maybe we have, but I don't remember. But we know that Paul Sass, you put him in the worst spot on his back, you're in danger. You know what I mean? He can fight a fighter that won the K1 title in kickboxing and won an Olympic gold medal in wrestling, and it won't matter to Paul Sass. It won't even matter because he's not going to stand with them. He's going to pull guard, and he's not going to wrestle with them. He's just going to pull guard. So he takes all that advantage away from fighters. Meanwhile, he's working on his striking and his wrestling, so eventually he's going to have to stand and he's going to have to strike. But, man, he's got the art of guard pulling so deep. It's not just butt-flopping and then you're on your ass. You got to take a real deep shot, make the guy sprawl, and then right at that perfect time, you sit back and pull guard, and he falls right into your guard. And it really is an art. And Paul Sass should put out a DVD on what the hell he's doing and what the hell he's thinking, because no one's been able to stop it so far. And you know what? People are going to stop it. There's going to be guys, I'm sure, that trained against his guard pull, and he's not going to be able to pull guard. Every time he pulls guard, they just back out and they refuse to go on the ground. He's going to run into some guys like that for sure. And he's going to have to end up standing. And he's going to have to use his wrestling eventually. But so far, he just takes a good shot and sprawls at the perfect time as the guy sprawls. And his guard is so dangerous, and he's not even using rubber guard, and his guard's so damn dangerous, man. Once he discovers the power of the rubber guard, he's going to be, even more dangerous. But right now, he doesn't even need the rubber guard.
Definitely.
His guard is awesome enough as it is.
Eddie, we've got exactly 90 seconds left. I've got one last question for you. I ask all of our guests. Sorry to, push this in last minute, but what is your favorite ice cream? I myself am a cannabis connoisseur, and I enjoy my ice cream. What flavors does Eddie Bravo like?
Haagen-Dazs chocolate peanut butter.
Yeah.
Peanut butter.
Never tried that, but it sounds absolutely goddamn crazy. But we would love to talk as long as possible, but we actually only have a minute left before we have to go off the air. Thank you so much for coming on. Everyone follow at Eddie Bravo on Twitter. You have any shout-outs before we let you go?
Yeah, all my techniques I put online on a show called Mastering the System. Go to YouTube, go to Mastering the System. It's all the techniques I teach at my home school. I put them up on the internet. The YouTube version doesn't have the techniques. It just has all the crazy videos around it because it's a show. It's not just techniques. But $4.99 a month. You go to my website, 10thplanetjj.com. You have access to my entire system. $4.99 a month. I mean, you can't beat that.
It's well worth it, man. It's great technique from the master.
And we will also link that up on the MMA podcast, too, if you want to check that out. Eddie, thank you so much for coming on. We enjoyed this conversation very thoroughly.
Thank you very much.
All right, have a great day, man.
Bye, Eddie.
You too, man. Bye.
And that was